Hello, viewers, and welcome once again to Healthy Wrinkles, a channel devoted for healthcare of senior citizens and elderly. I am welcoming once again Dr. Prem. Dr. Prem is a leading geriatrician, geriatric expert, and he runs a geriatric care center at Jaslok Hospital, Mumbai. Welcome, Dr. Prem, once again on the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. And good
Today,
morning.
doctor, is a special day, being World Health Day, and I'm going to begin the conversation with what is this concept of World Health Day, doctor? And can you explain?
Yeah, so World Health Day was brought into prominence by WHO and as early as 1948. So the theme this year, of course, is in 2021 is to build basically a fairer and healthier world. So it's making it a healthier place for everybody because I mean in the sort of pandemic that we need to make sure that everybody throughout have a fairer and healthier world. So that is the theme, and of course there are few ways we can make sure that can happen, and the emphasis has been on eating well, sleeping well, then doing good amount of exercise, distressing. I mean, stress is really on the rise with multiple factors, with the pandemic, with financial issues, with job problems. And of course, last but not the least, I think the most important aspect is giving prominence to your mental health, which unfortunately hasn't happened always. And in the pandemic, we have got a chance to actually look into the mental aspect as well. The first time we have realized that people who are fit, but physically fit, but not able to go out, actually have been isolated to an extent, even senior citizens, and mental health has been affected. So these five factors are very important in having a basically a healthy day. And on this aspect of World Health Day, this should be re-emphasized.
Doctor, now in the context of the World Health Day, can you describe a little bit the terminology which is used very frequently nowadays, which is healthy aging? So, what is the meaning of healthy aging, and why this term has been coined in the first place? And what are the outcomes? Generally, you as a geriatric expert would say that this is the progress of a particular individual or society is happening on the right path when you describe as a healthy aging.
So I would say there are of course multiple things. One is things like healthy aging. Things we use is even aging gracefully, then successful aging. So all these things are very important, and I think people who live longer make sure that their physical, mental, and social aspect everything is taken care of. So that's why they age healthy. Now, as far as successful aging is concerned, I think it's very important that uh, it is uh, it is guided by some principles. Usually there are three principles which I mean a successful aging, which is the pillars. One is selection, one is optimization, and one is compensation. So we always keep thinking, even older adults, a lot of times they are like, oh, I cannot do this, मेरे से ये नहीं होता. But what you should focus is, which is the principle or the pillar of successful aging, first pillar, that is selection. So look at what you can still do. The glass is half full or half empty. So you have to focus on what you can still do. So that is selection. Optimization is to strengthen that particular part, strengthen that aspect of what you can still do. And ultimately, compensation. Use strategies after you struggle so that you can overcome your weakness. So that is adaptability. So the biggest key for healthy aging, as far as older adults is concerned, is adaptability. Adapting to their situation, adapting to stressors, adapting to life, whether it's personal, whether it's health problems, and a lot of factors are there. I mean, a lot of factors can bow them down. But I think one of the most important is need to focus on these three pillars. And of course, I mean, there is a famous, you can say an example also. There was a pianist known as Albert Schweitzer, and this he had Parkinson's disease. So he was basically a very good pianist, but unfortunately he developed Parkinson's disease, and then people were like, no, this is the end of the road, because there were just too many tremors and he couldn't obviously play. And of course, even I want to give this example because World Parkinson's Disease Day is also around the corner. So, but he didn't stop playing. He continued playing. So he only played those tunes which need him to tremble. So that was called adaptability. He adapted and he didn't stop. And people were like, "Oh, he's still going on." And so that's how you live a healthy life, by adapting to situations and trying to overcome your weakness.
I think, doctor, that's a wonderful explanation. Like, focusing on what you can do rather than thinking about what you cannot do, and continue to strengthen what you can do. Yeah. And doctor, as a geriatric expert or geriatrician, which is a new emerging branch of the medicine, I would say over last decade or so, how association of a senior citizen with you or colleagues from your field who are geriatricians, how that can be helpful for a senior citizen or his or her family members?
No, I think it is very helpful purely because ultimately, like just like for pediatrics, there is a pediatrician. For geriatrics, that is above the age of 60. There is a geriatrician or an elder care expert. Now, the most important factor that we concentrate on is quality of life and independence. So that is something which all older adults want. We want to reduce the disability, limit the disability, and make them more independent. Now, the biggest advantage of a geriatrician taking care is that they have only seen older people. So the experiences of looking at older people, their expertise of older people, and a holistic approach is sort of taken, which could be multidisciplinary as well when people are needed. And there is something known as a comprehensive geriatric assessment, which stands out. So, in which various domains of an older adult for a better healthy life are taken care, whether it's the cognitive part, which is the memory, then mind, then risk of fall, presence absence of urinary incontinence, then things like other diseases. Of course, the chronic diseases are also handled, like diabetes, hypertension. Then focus is also on the psychological part, their social part, their financial aspect. And ultimately, a problem list is created in which every problem is as important. And of course, for example, if somebody has a pneumonia, we address that first and then try to. But we do address if they have a memory problem, if they have a history of falls, fear of fall, issues with walking gait, constipation. All these things have to be addressed. So everything is addressed with one thing at a time. And the motto of geriatrics, which is something that the caregivers and the older adults should understand, is basically continuum of care. So we are trying to not only look after them at the home, at hospital, maybe OPD inpatient, but also ultimately at home and maybe in the community also. So our motto is quality of life to be maintained. Hopefully we can make it better. If not better, keep it at the same time. And ultimately, if possible, that particular person should come out in the community also. So I think an overall, the biggest advantage of having an elder care specialist is the overall health of the older adult will be taken care of. And things like multiple drugs, things like drug optimization, even that is very, very important. And ultimately, overall quality of life can be maintained. And of course, plus minus, if needed, other specialists can be involved if needed only, so that there is a one center point of contact and an older adult can be taken care by a specialist who is in fact experienced in old taking care of older adults.
I think, doctor, the comparison that you drew vis-a-vis a pediatrician for the younger children and that age group, and a geriatrician at an elderly age group, I think that is very apt, because everyone understands the role pediatrician plays from a child's development perspective, and on the other hand, you are offering comprehensive care from a geriatric perspective, which is very, very similar, of course, for a different other end of the spectrum, but very, very valid. And doctor, this healthy aging, as we have been discussing, how a family member or caregiver can support to a different extent or greater extent, in the process of healthy aging.
Now it obviously depends whether the older adult is dependent or independent. So if the older adult is even a little bit dependent, whether it's because of financial, whether it's because of other things, so then I think as a caregiver, you should always be encouraging them to keep being independent. That is to do their exercise. If they love cooking, they should continue to cook. They should be able to do all their activities of daily living. If they are able to do that, then the caregiver should encourage them. we want to care for them, but that does not mean taking away their passions. For example, if a homemaker loves cooking, we shouldn't stop her from doing it just because she's getting older, or we feel that she should be resting. If she is okay, she is independent, she wants to cook, then she should continue to do it. And we should obviously try to be there for any other support, whether it's social, whether it's, if anything emergency happens, that they know that we are around. Because having a social circle, whether it's families, friends, neighbors, is very, very important for healthy aging as far as an older adult is concerned. Because keeping yourself healthy and then needing somebody when there is an emergency makes a huge difference, because that is what takes you back from being healthy to not being healthy and back to healthiness, because that is very important. And then another thing is, there is something known as a concept of frailty in older adults. The more the frail the individual is, more there is a chance that they might not come back to their original health. So that is where maybe the caregivers will have to play a more role, try to optimize their health, whether it is by providing anyway healthy diet, encouraging them, being there for them. I think one of the most important things is that as a caregiver for an older adult, that you should be there for them. And if you are not there in person, which can happen with people like foreign patients of Alzheimer's or something, where you might be the only financial breadwinner also, so you will have to take help. So try to take help also, try to facilitate them, but maximum to what extent their quality of life and independence can be maintained, I think the caregiver should contribute to that as well. And
Thank you,
another thing
Dr.
is,
Yeah.
another thing before we end is, they should never take paternalistic decisions. The older adult should always be involved because it is their health. So they should have a say, because a lot of times children or caregivers just tend to think that we will be the decision maker. So that shouldn't be the case always.
Yeah, thank you, doctor, for providing excellent conversation on the topic of healthy aging. And I think some of the new dimensions that you talked about from a senior citizen perspective and also from the caregiver perspective, I think they are very, very important, and they will go long way in improving the care for the elderly in our country. Thank you, doctor, once again for joining the conversation.
Thank you. Thanks.